Now, among those who I spoke to today, paying fulsome tribute to Ratan Tata and what made him special, is another iconic industrialist philanthropist, Infosys founder, Narayana Murthy. Listen into what he had to say. Good to have you on the show, Mr. Narayana Murthy. It is a tragic moment, though, Ratan Tata's passing away. Your tribute, sir. What did Ratan Tata, according to you, represent?
I think he was a human being which had lots of compassion. You just now spoke about animals and all of that. He had concern for the poorer sections of the society. He had huge concern for his employees. He was very courteous whether he was speaking to a young admirer or a top industrialist. He was very patriotic. And several things that he did, for example, his starting of the manufacturing of nano car was purely based on patriotic feeling that we Indians too can produce motor cars. And so I would say that he was a great human being, very humble, very easy to hold conversation. I had taken my daughter in 1999 to meet him because she had taken a course on leadership in her undergraduate year. And Sudha and we took her to meet Ratan. And he had given her just 1 hour, but he spent 3 hours. He answered every question. He talked about what leadership is all about, why you have to take tough decisions, which he had demonstrated in plenty when he took over from JRD, and why there has to be compassion for the poorer sections of the society. You know, why you have to have high aspirations, why you have to compare yourself with the best in the world. So it was a very good lesson on leadership for Akshata, who was, at that time, would just reach 20 or 19 or something like that. It was a wonderful thing. I invited Ratan to open the Jamsetji Tata Hall. And he called me and said, look, your TCS is your competitor. How is it that you are inviting me? I said, no, Jamsetji was, had transcended companies. He was a patriotic Indian. Therefore, for us, we don't think of Jamsetji as belonging to a group that was competing with us. And he came. Of course, by nature, he was somewhat shy. He would not want to give long speeches. He gave a short speech. And he was also surprised that we had invited him to inaugurate that because, once again, the logic was that TCS was our biggest competitor. They were number one, we were number two. And I think at that point in time, we were, if you remove the General Electric business, we were probably the same or slightly higher than TCS. So he was a little bit surprised. And he came, he spent a lot of time with with Infosys, and every moment of his visit was a show. I wouldn't use the word show, a demonstration of his humility, of his patriotism, and of his kindness.
The post-91 generation, yourself, Ratan Tata, the audacity of ambition to go big, is that what defined him? Or the fact that while having this audacity of ambition, this heart of steel, he also had a heart of gold, a heart of velvet, if you want to call it. So, velvet in steel.
Tatas have always had a heart of gold. And the beauty of it is that Ratan came in, and Ratan, in fact, I would say, added value to what was already an extraordinary initiative. So, and on the issue of the global thing, there are divided opinions. After all, he is as much of a human. He was as much of a human being as you and me. So we do certain things extremely well, certain things not so well. So there are divided opinions about the foray of the Tata companies into the export market, whether it was British Steel or whether Jaguar, etc. But I think the beauty of that is, it is now coming into to full flowering, because Jaguar is becoming very popular in India. It is becoming popular in the Far East. So the market is now taking off. And therefore, I would say that he was a visionary. He thought very far into the future. And I am positive that every one of his initiatives abroad will be applauded and emulated as we move forward.
There's a word which has been mentioned, Mr. Murthy, right through the day today: compassionate capitalism. It's a word that's also been associated with you. Define it. What is it for particularly young entrepreneurs that a Ratan Tata is a role model for compassionate capitalism?
Once invited him to inaugurate the Akshay Patra kitchen, which was funded by my wife Sudha. That was the first public function he was accepting after he retired from Tata Sons. He came to Hubli. He stayed there for 2.5 days, and he participated in every function. He interacted with youngsters, with the mature people, with the rich and the not so rich, with the bureaucrats, with the ministers, everybody. And my co-brother, Dr. Deshpande, was also there. And I believe then he did support Akshay Patra after that. So that was a lesson for me in humility, a lesson in compassionate capitalism, a lesson in how the mighty can indeed have a part of their heart reserved for the not so fortunate ones.
Mr. Murthy, if in conclusion, if there is one leadership lesson that you think Ratan Tata gave you, or perhaps what is that one leadership lesson that you think Ratan Tata's life represents?
Based on personal interactions, I would say that he transcended financial status, official power, intelligence, and other qualities, in interacting in the same way with everybody that wanted to interact with him. That, I think, is a rare quality. I have met hundreds of CEOs all over the world, I would say, very, very large CEOs. But he did demonstrate every time, not just once, that he transcended these artificial barriers that we create amongst ourselves to belong to certain clubs or certain groups. That, I think, was his strength. And that's what I would say, that's what I learned from him. That's what we all owe it to him.